As I reviewed the computer software submitted by one of my staff, our CEO handed me a wedding invitation. "Are you getting married?" I joked. "No, it's from Mark, COO of Glendale International," he clarified. "Unfortunately, I'll be in Hong Kong visiting our branch that day, so you'll need to represent the company. Given your role as COO, overseeing our entire operation, you're the best fit. Since Mark is new, this is a great opportunity for you two to meet." He added, "As usual, I'll rely on you to run the company while I'm away." I continued reviewing the software, glanced at the invitation, and then headed out for lunch. But my gaze lingered on the invitation, and my eyes widened as I saw the couple's names and photo inside. The bride's name struck a chord, and the picture. It was an older version of the woman etched in my memory. "She's my mother." I sat stunned, emotions swirling, hatred, anger, and more. My hunger vanished, replaced by the shock of this revelation. The thought of a succulent lunch no longer appealed to me. My mother abandoned us when I was just a child, leaving my father to raise me solo. Struggling to make ends meet, he did his best with the resources he had. Luxuries were unknown to us, and future plans were a luxury we couldn't afford. We lived day to day, barely scraping by. At 15, I dropped out of school and took on various odd jobs to support my father. Sweeping streets, working as a janitor, house helper, delivery boy, car washer, and even building cleaner. Whatever it took to help him provide for us. At 17, rather than completing my secondary education, I traded traditional high school for a computer school, attending evening classes after completing my daily jobs. Within 2 years, I excelled in my computer course, graduating top of my class. This achievement led to an immediate job offer from an American tech company with a Philippine subsidiary. My boss tasked me with evaluating a manufacturing company for potential digital transformation of their manual reporting system. After a 2-week assessment, I designed a fully integrated online system. Before proceeding with development, I met with key stakeholders, including the general manager, sales manager, finance manager, and chief accountant. I outlined the system's capabilities, including real-time reporting on raw materials and finished goods inventory, accounts payable, detailed sales reports by product and customer, accounts receivable, financial reporting. The system would utilize online data processing, leveraging existing manual inputs from purchasing, production, sales orders, and deliveries. I presented a budget for necessary computer hardware and software licensing costs, ensuring a clear understanding of the investment required for a fully operational system. My exceptional performance as a systems analyst and programmer caught my boss's attention. He was impressed enough to invite me to join the home office team after his 2-year stint in the Philippines ended. I steadily climbed the corporate ladder, eventually becoming Chief Operating Officer, overseeing software development for numerous clients. Now, 15 years later, I'm about to meet the mother who abandoned my father and me. A mix of emotions swirls within me, uncertainty, anger, and hurt. Does she still remember me, or have I been erased from her memory? Wedding day came. As I entered the wedding venue, my eyes scanned the crowded room, my heart racing with anticipation and anxiety. 15 years had passed since I last seen her, my mother. The memories of her departure still lingered, a wound that had never fully healed. As I spotted her across the room, a mix of emotions swirled within me. Anger, sadness, curiosity, and a hint of hope all battled for dominance. I felt like a child again, vulnerable and uncertain. Our eyes met, she looked at me, recognition, as I looked like my father during his younger age. For a moment, time stood still. She looked older, wearier, but the same spark in her eyes as I remember remained. I wondered if she'd see the pain she'd caused, the scars she'd left behind. As we drew closer, the air thickened with unspoken words. I searched her face for answers, for explanations, but found only a deep sadness and regret. She reached out, hesitantly, and I let her touch my arm, unsure of what to do next. The silence between us was heavy with unasked questions and unresolved emotions. Where had she been? Why had she left? Did she ever think of me and my father? The words hung in the air, waiting to be spoken. I looked at her, really looked, and saw the stranger he'd grown up without. A part of me longed to reconnect, to rebuild bridges burned long ago. Another part remained guarded, afraid of being hurt again. The silence between us was heavy with unasked questions and unresolved emotions. Where had she been? Why had she left? Did she ever think of me and my father? The words hung in the air, waiting to be spoken. I looked at her, really looked, and saw the stranger he'd grown up without. A part of me longed to reconnect, to rebuild bridges burned long ago. Another part remained guarded, afraid of being hurt again. As we stood there, suspended between past and present, I realized that forgiveness wouldn't come easily. Time might have softened the edges of my pain, but the wounds still lingered. I wasn't sure if I was ready to heal, to let her back in. Our meeting was a complex dance of emotions, a delicate balance between past hurts and present hopes. Only time would tell if we could find common ground, if our relationship could be rewoven. For now, we stood together, suspended in a moment of uncertainty, searching for a way forward. The silence between mother and son was shattered by Mark's interruption, which prompted me to introduce myself. I'm Luis Perez, COO of Tech Innovation, I said, explaining that our CEO, currently out of the country, had entrusted me to represent the company. He thought I'd be a better fit to meet you, given our shared line of work. Mentioning my name visibly jolted my mother, her expression revealing that she still remembered me despite her prolonged absence from my life. Mark acknowledged me with a firm handshake, then turned to mingle with other guests, oblivious to the charged atmosphere between my mother and me. My mother's voice was barely audible as she asked, "Can we talk?" Still reeling from the unexpected encounter and emotions running high, I replied, "Not now." I'm not ready to revisit the past. The simplicity of my words, enough for me to know you're alive, seemed to strike her deeply, and tears welled up in her eyes. As the wedding festivities unfolded, I deliberately avoided my mother, immersing myself in conversations with fellow professionals to distract myself from the turmoil brewing inside. Networking became a convenient escape, allowing me to momentarily erase her presence from my thoughts. Though she gazed at me from afar, her determination to approach me palpable, I chose to keep my distance after our brief, charged encounter earlier. I departed the wedding without extending the courtesy of a conversation, leaving her standing alone in her regret. The pain she'd inflicted resurfaced, more intense now that I'd seen her in person. As anticipated, I received a call at my office, and despite my initial resistance, I answered. After a heavy silence, she hesitantly asked to meet and talk. My response was measured. It's been 15 years, and seeing you again hasn't sparked a desire to converse. I'm unsure what I'd say or do, given the pain you've caused. Perhaps someday, when the wounds have healed a bit, we can talk. Her sobbing acknowledgement hung in the air, and I couldn't bring myself to engage further. Days passed, and I declined her repeated calls, still grappling with the emotions that threatened to overwhelm me. Reconciliation seemed a distant prospect, but maybe, just maybe, with time, I'd find the strength to forgive and accept what had transpired.